Freddie Turnstone is a Harrisburg-based indie rock artist. His new single, I've Been to the Dungeon Before, is an epic, moody, but catchy piece of music that features guest vocals from Jessica Boyer and violin from Robin Chambers. Out now on all streaming platforms. Hello everybody, my name is Corey Rosen, and you are listening to the Story Podcast. Today I have on a super awesome guest, Miss Big Mama. A Las Vegas transplant, Melanie Verdi is excited to be a part of the Central PA music scene, especially in the Lancaster area. She was recently part of the 2022 East Pete Summer Festival, sitting in with local blues and rock bands at various events while working as a studio session vocalist. During one of her earliest shows in Vegas, Melanie brought the house down with her dynamic vocal range and was affectionately named Big Mama due to her powerful performance. She still uses it today as an homage to her blues and gospel background. Melanie's Las Vegas debut came after a chance encounter in an elevator at the Rio Casino. An overheard conversation from the casino manager regarding an act that had to be canceled at the last minute turned a weekend vacation into a full-time gig at the rooftop lounge. Never shy of a challenge, this provided the opportunity Big Mama was looking for to combine music, fashion, and dynamic interactive stage performances, as well as impersonations of Diana Ross, Tina Turner, and Whitney Houston. Big Mama and the Velvet Martinis are a well-rounded music ensemble of professional musicians with a passion for uncompromising performance. How are you doing today, man?
Excellent. Excellent. I'm excellent. I think it's excellent, and I'm here, and I'm glad I'm here with you, Corey, today.
Good. I'm excited to have you too.
I'm very excited.
So tell me, where did this all begin for you? Where did the love of music come from for you? You're originally from Las Vegas, or?
Oh, that's a story in itself. But originally, how music started for me, how music outside of the church music that I grew up in, and the gospel and that choral kind of just soul kind of music. I really started in probably I would have to say Hawaii. I really did. I got with some group of musicians over there, and we just started playing some kind of covers. And since I was dating the bass player, always it seems like somebody in the band has a girlfriend that they just put in front of the microphone and just sing. And I was just lucky to have the experience to get in there and just start singing at small clubs. And I went to bigger clubs, and then, cut my teeth out there, as we all do as musicians, pubs and bars. And then had an opportunity in Vegas, which was a great opportunity, opened doors for me. Then I started doing the impersonations of the Tina Turner, the Whitney Houston, and the Diana Rosses. And then that was just amazing. And then my career brought me to Maryland, where I played Fells Point, Baltimore, and played a lot of those gigs and places. And then moved here to Lancaster. I love the place. I love the musicians here. And then I end up being here about a year and a half with my husband. We bought his mom's house and gave me the opportunity to do some interior designing with it. And then we looked at each other and said, let's get this music thing going here. And there it is.
So you do impersonations. Where did that come from? Why?
Great question. So when I was in Vegas and we were doing cover material, just regular cover material, a lot of material on my set list was Whitney Houston and Tina Turner. And so, which a lot of the audience loved that part of it. And I had a gentleman who came up to me and said, hey, why don't you do that as a show? And I said, well, that's actually a great idea. And so I started learning more Tina Turner, started watching her videos, catching her mannerisms, interviews and everything, and started really curtailing a show just particularly on her. And then I had a show, studied Whitney Houston and her mannerisms, her dress and everything else, and did the same exact thing, but just, different styles, and got booked for a lot of those. And then someone said, what about Diana Ross? And then I ended up doing the same thing. So, yeah.
So over how many impersonations do you do? Do you have?
I got hired to do Marilyn Monroe. So, well, it would depend. I've done Peggy Lee, which is some kind of craziness. At that time, I was doing a lot of different kind of impersonations because I was just about the music, and the audience more would love it. At the time, they really liked it.
So you mentioned studying the mannerisms, studying the dress.
Yeah.
How would you get those dresses?
That's
Because you got a fabulous dress on right now.
Yes, yes. I started having a collection. So I started going to vintage stores. And then I would go to these vintage stores, but they wouldn't have show dresses. They would have, something you'd wear to a wedding, a
Right.
bridesmaid's dress, just something and blah. So then I had to start sewing, and of course I grew up sewing. I loved to sew. But then I would get these dresses, take them apart, put them back together with furs and gems and everything else and stuff. And then that took time off because, you want to perform. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
sit there doing that. So I started going to vintage stores in Vegas and I started going into Phoenix and I started collecting them. And then it was about the labels because I wanted a vintage dress, but I wanted it to be a Ralph Lauren kind of dress or hopefully I can find a Chanel, hopefully.
Right.
But, then it became about I actually am holding a 1942 dress. And that to me was more than all the other things because it was like a treasure, like a baseball card to somebody.
Mm.
Then I started to say, well, I like that dress because in 1942, this was going on. So then I started connecting it like that.
So tell me a little bit about this dress. I'm really curious because that obviously you can't go into a store and buy one of those.
Yes. So, all right. So this is a faux red leather tube dress I have on. This is I always have something. I always have a label. So this is my label, little Ralph Lauren that I have. This is faux as well, faux jacket, with this. And this is very inexpensive. But the vintage piece, because I always have a vintage piece, and this is a cute little Ralph Lauren, and this is a 1972 bracelet.
Really?
So yeah, so it's like all about little vintages pieces. These boots were these are 1972 with the real suede. This is a collection, a vintage collection, Asian, could be like 1962, but I make sure that it has some sort of label on it. That way you can identify it and know exactly, track it to see, the history on it and sometimes on the value. Yeah.
And then you have the feathers and is that earrings or
They're earrings.
that's
Yeah.
so
Isn't
wild.
that cool? Yeah. Yeah, and these I saw them a long, long time ago, and they reminded me of Cher,
Mm.
and I just thought that, I will, embody her and bring her in here because, Cher was one of my idols. Do you remember Cher?
I am a lot of things and well versed in the old music is not one of them.
Shame.
I know the name. I don't know anything else about it. I know. When the first time someone hooked me on to Shania Twain, I was like, I don't know who that is, but I probably should.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you like to go thrift shopping. Is this what
Yes,
yes.
thrifting. And I also I buy valued couture online too. And I
Mhm.
do the mixture of both of them. Because it's all about just I think fashion to me is like art. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
somebody painting a blank canvas. I mean, I think it's all about art. It's moving art. I mean, and it's pretty cool when you can control your own art piece every day.
This is very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So, do you specifically book shows to be either Tina Turner, Whitney Houston, whatever? Or do you mix and match and do you do quick changes?
Yes. So a long time ago, I was on stage. This is probably one of my most embarrassing stories. And I was on stage and I had a gown on and I was at a wedding and I'm actually singing At Last, Etta James.
Mm.
And I hit the high note and the dress fell. Right. Yeah. And the saving grace in front of 150 guests that I have no idea who their names were. And this is prior to cell phones, thank goodness. But I had a slip, a beautiful white slip, and I continued the song. So the audience thought it was I did a quick change and went into another dress. When in actuality, it was just a
It
slip.
just fell.
It just fell. So I was like, ta-da! And then I started I had this idea. I said, oh my God, let me incorporate this. So I would put 3 or 4 gowns on, go on stage, sing, step behind when my guitar player is, ripping in his solo, come back on with a blue dress. And I had a red dress. And then I started doing with costume changes. Then I did it with wigs and then with shoes and everything else. In a 4-hour gig, I would change 10 times.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's you.
Speechless.
Your husband's not waiting on you. You're waiting on your husband, right? At that point, right?
Yeah. And then I went from a small customer fan base to people knew exactly which dress I was wearing, and I like this dress. It started becoming this big thing, and then I started getting with boutiques in the area and saying, if you want me to do one of your dresses, boom, here I am. And then women were starting to buy the dresses, saying, I
Mm.
like that one, and I like that one. Can I buy that one? So it ended up being this whole cool vibe.
So you mentioned that you were from Hawaii. You were in Las Vegas at some point. You came to Maryland. Why are that seems a very not straight line.
Um, uh, One of the things that I've done in my life, I joined the U.S. Navy.
Mm.
Yes, I was a K-9, yes, K-9 police officer in the Navy. So when I joined the Navy, I did a lot of traveling. One place in particular, I was in the Philippines, in Manila. And have you been to the Philippines, Manila?
I have not, but I know of the place.
All right, it's like a 32-hour flight.
Really, from here, from
Yeah, it's far. I mean, yeah. I'm sure someone will correct me, but let me tell you, it's more than 6. And you get on a plane and you go there, and it's just a whole different world. It's beautiful. There's just beautiful, and there's places that are really poverty stricken. Then
Mm.
you go to their karaoke bars, and these people are karaoke. I mean, they make us over here look a little silly sometimes with the Frank Sinatra and a lot of things. I mean, they nail it. And I went over there, and I went up there and sang a Diana Ross song, and I can't remember. And this Korean lady pulled me aside and said, I want you to do Korean songs, a Korean song for me. And then she taught me an actual Korean song. So when I went to Hawaii and I'm at this cocktail lounge, and these Japanese and Korean tourists are coming in, because this was a part-time job that I had, I used to sing Korean songs, and people would never forget that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you were in the Navy. How long was that for?
I was in for about 9.5 years.
9.5 years. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And did you do? I'll let you take a drink of water. Did you do your music during that, or was that separate?
Yeah. Some of my posts that I did some music. Yeah, sometimes it's hard when you're in the enlisted ranks. You're over there to do a job,
Right.
and trying to find a guitar player in the sand sometimes kind of hard.
Not
Some
quite.
drums. So people that you would get with over there, you would just sing along, sing to some kind of album, or some kind of music and on. And then sometimes you can get together with an acoustic act and jam into some kind of enlisted club. But it was kind of hard. A gig over there was just getting together and gigging out. But back over here in the U.S., yeah, I gigged probably once or twice. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So here's a question I like to ask all Army vets or U.S. military vets, because there's always a story.
Yeah.
There
is. PG.
What's one of the funniest or things that ever happened in the military for you?
The funniest story.
Or fun.
Fun story. Well, one of the fun stories over there is when I joined and enlisted, I had no idea what I was doing. I just thought I was just gonna go and just travel the world, lay on the beaches, and just have a great fun. So my first duty station, everybody was getting their orders for their duty station, and I look at my duty station, and I'm like, oh darn, everybody's getting boats, and everybody's getting to stay home, and I'm going to Antigua, and everybody's like, really, you're gonna go, Caribbean? So
Right.
yeah, times are hard for you. And I remember I went there, and I was scared. I was so young, and I'm around this base, and I walked through a warehouse, and I could hear somebody playing an electric guitar. And I stopped, and I looked, and I opened a door, and the guy looked at me, and I looked at him, and then there was some other guy on drums. And they said, please be a singer. And I said, yeah. Please be able to play. And it was just like 3 musicians getting together in the middle of the world, and climbing. And the song that I sang was it was a Crystal Gale song, and I can't even remember it. But we sang that song all night, because that's the only song they could play, and I learned.
Wow.
And that was probably something that I never forgot. That, through the Navy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you became a citizen again, Uh,
I'm back. Yeah.
right. What was that process like for you? Did you know you wanted to go right into music immediately, or was that like a process?
Yeah, you know,
It's always a process.
it's always a process because when I got back, I had a family. So I'm raising kids and I'm having my daytime job. So I'm trying to stay focused on that because that was the responsibility then. So I didn't do it for a while. And I remember meeting my husband now, and he sat back and said, "You've had an amazing musical career. Let's do it again." He said, "Let's do it here in Lancaster, but let's do it the right way." Because back then, I mean, a gig's a gig. I mean, I remember playing at places where you're a musician.
Yes.
You play places where you don't want to put that on your resume.
That's right.
Yeah, but you play because it's the passion. You love music. I mean, that's why we do
Cutting your
it.
teeth.
That's why we do cutting our teeth. And then my husband said, "Let's just do it the right way." And that's why we're here. We're doing it the right way. We're meeting, networking. We're meeting great people. And I want to provide a show.
Mhm.
And I want people to walk away and say, "I just saw the most incredible band." And the singer, wow. And that's what I want people to walk away with.
So, kind of restarting your music career here. What
Mhm.
has that been like? You've gotten together a band. What
Yes.
is, give me the rundown on that.
I'll give you the rundown. So my concept when I started looking for musicians, I said the number one thing that I want is no ego.
Mm.
I know that's kind of hard, huh? And I want them to be competent on on of course their instrument, not understand it. And I said
Right.
I want a funk band. So I reached out and then I found a guitar player. His name's Dan Mitchell. He lives in Hershey, from California. Woo-hoo, just meaty player. Then I said I need something to go with this meaty player. And then I found this bassist, electric bassist, Ryan Serbell. Just holds the bottom, just beautiful. And then I said, okay, I need something else to go with it. So I found this musical, multi-talented gentleman. His name is Matt DeLucia. Not only he plays percussion, I can move in the keyboard.
Yeah.
Great guy. A great guy. He's a great guy. Then I think you might know him.
I know, I do.
I know you do because your eyes went back and
Yeah,
forth.
yeah.
And then I said, I need something to put this whole thing together. And I said, I need an amazing drummer. And then I got Dre Verdi on my drums. Great. And he's versatile. He plays country, R&B, funk. I mean, versatile. But then I need something, the cherry for this whole thing. And that's Pete Skella. And
Yes, saxophone, yeah.
Oh my God. Can we do that?
Pete Skella,
Oh,
absolutely.
Man.
Love Pete.
So I have this nuclear funky fusion of these musicians. So we attack these cover songs like incredible. And so that's my funk band. Then we move over to my jazz band. Excuse me.
Oh, you got two bands.
I have more than that.
Got a whole plan.
Mm-hmm.
Got a whole army of bands.
I have a whole army. So I wanted to do something that's a little bit authentic for jazz. I wanted to go back through the decades. I wanted to go from the 20s, sing about the 20s, all that music, the 30s, 40s, 60s, all the way to contemporary. And I wanted to do a story about it. So when we were staying, I had a gig at Mickey's in Lidditz, and the show was called Decades in Jazz. So yeah, so I came out in a 1920s frilly dress with the headband and the fan and the gloves and sang from the 1920s. Yeah, like wonderful, marvelous. Then it gets better. There's more. And then
wait, before you go, did you have the transatlantic accent as well?
No.
Not the it was a transatlantic accent, the ones that they always did the movies in back in the day.
Oh. No.
Okay.
No. Then there's more.
Okay.
So, but this will get to that point. So my second set, I started from the 40s, 50s, and then that was the A Train. Yeah. So, and that costume dealt with, the A-frame skirt with the plaids and the red gloves and the the hair and the little, we'll call them square pillbox. Yeah. So pretty cool, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the audience was like, what's the next set? And then of course I, changed into another gown, which was a burgundy gown. So I gave what I want to do is I want to give them a visual show, so they can visually see the music and how it connects. And then I want them to come away from it and say, I just saw a show. That was a pretty good show. And then that's what I want to do here. And that's my jazz band. So I have Kirk Reese on keyboards. I
know that name, yes.
Yeah, you're a keyboard player as well. And I have Ray, my bass player for my other band. And I have Matt, my drummer again. And then I have this new gentleman that I'm featuring this gig that's coming up. And his name is Richie Rags Regalia. Yeah. It plays like David Sanborn. Yeah, pretty cool.
So let's talk about this next gig that you got coming up.
Yes. So May 13th, I have a gig coming up, and it's going to be in the Mulberry Arts Center. So what we wanted to do was we were looking for a venue to have a jazz show for date night, or Mother's Day weekend. Mother's Day will be the next day. So what we did is I got musicians together, and we're going to do a jazz show. And it's going to be in this speakeasy. We're going to build it at the Mulberry Arts Center on the second floor. Speakeasy, we're going to be selling tickets there. We have $15 tickets just to be in there, just to have a great time, general admission, all the way up to the VIP lounge seating, which is going to be pretty cool because there's only going to be 5 comfortable, intimate couches surrounding the stage.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I'll have the dresses, the costumes of the period, having a great time. And then I think we're going to start the show at 7, and doors will open up at 6 o'clock, and the tickets are going to be at Eventbrite.
So can people expect your jazz band or the impersonation band?
They'll be expecting the jazz band.
Jazz band.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, we're going to change up some newer the music, like you ever heard of the band called Postmaster?
Postmodern Jukebox.
Yeah. So one of the songs is Creep. So
Yes, yep.
Yeah, so that's one of the songs I want to do. We're going to try to transfer some of the new contemporary, and do some jazzy style, bring a little funk to it as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you have this new band. Is there anything, did you ever want to write originals at all?
That's another thing. But yes, we're working on that. I was talking to a few writers, actually online, songwriters, and I was trying to connect them. They sent me some of their music samples and stuff, and I think I want to try at it. Right in the beginning of COVID, remember COVID? No one's leaving the house.
I'll say the anniversary's coming up very soon. Tomorrow, actually. March 13th, or everything shut down.
Right. So my husband and I, we got guitars, and we sat on our porch and just played guitar, and that's what we did. And I continued to play, and now I want to start doing a lot more of that, playing in my jazz kind of stuff. So so you'll be seeing some of that too.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of hitting the halfway point in this interview. We have a jam session from you at McCleary's Pub with a few of great musicians.
Oh, yes.
We have Mike Krasoffi on guitar, great friend of mine. I know Mike Krasoffi. You know Mike Krasoffi.
Yes,
He's an incredible
cool.
guitarist,
Very
incredible
cool.
shredder. So we're going to listen to a little bit of a live version of that. So with that said, this is Big Mama at McCleary's.
Well, would you be right now?
was a jam out at McCleary's with Big Mama.
Yes.
So you're moving away from these impersonation shows, and you're moving into some of your own stuff that you want to do. Tell me more about that. You want to sort of blues band as well, and
what I want to do is right now we're doing my next band. Well, the second band is a jazz band, so we're doing more of like the exclusive clubs. I want to do more of the vintage clothing that matches with the music, but I want to have a show, a jazz show where you sit there for an hour to 2 hours and I bring you through the years of jazz, or I emphasize a certain artist vocally like Ella Fitzgerald or Nina Simone night. And then that's what I want to do. And I want to try to do that continuously, bringing in amazing acts, local acts. There are great musicians in this town. I just want to find a venue that we can bring them all in monthly basis and we can just get together and jam. And Mulberry, April, who I'm sorry, I don't remember, forgot your name, April, but the manager of Mulberry, she's giving us that opportunity by letting us have this space. Of course, she's there to make a profit, but we're excited about it. And then each month we're going to be featuring new acts and get to the point where they're going to probably be getting interviewed here and talking about it more because we want to get the word out.
Yeah, you guys should definitely look to the Frost duo.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. So you want to build this show. You want to build storylines. You want to build almost like a theater piece, really.
Yeah.
What would go all into that? You got to find clothes. You got to find materials. You got to find sources for this stuff. How do you plan to build that, or do you already have a collection? I'm sure you have a collection of a lot of things.
Well, with the clothes, what I've been doing is I met a lady and she's Philly girl, and she's into vintage and stuff, and she showed me a lot of incredible vintage pieces, which I thought were really cool. And then I check online, and I go around and eventually a lot of times it's word of mouth. I know that someone was talking to us this a weekend about a vintage store down on, I think, off of Queen Street, stores that I didn't even know were around here, but it's just been the word of mouth. And after a while, people are going to be contacting me like, hey, we got this place that, maybe you can go to for dresses and stuff. And a lot of times I'll find something that I really, really like and I'll take it apart. I'm sorry, and put it back together, my own style. But yeah.
And so you're also taking these old jazz standards for better words, and you're contemporizing them and you're modernizing them. How does that work? Are you arranging them yourself, or are you having other people do it, or what's the
so with my funk band, I have a musical director, and that is my guitar player, Dan Mitchell. I am a very visual person. I'm like, and so I give him my concept. I'm like, this is what I want, and then he figures it out, and then he presents it. He figures it out for me. And then on my jazz side, I have Ryan Serbell, and he's my musical director. I do the same concept. So with what I want to, what my mind wants me to put out as a show, they're the ones that actually can put it on paper for me. So it's been this great, I guess, a great group of people that we all want to put on a great show. I want to put on the music and have it just amplify people like Etta James and Ella Fitzgerald. I really want people to sit there and feel her through my voice, and that's what I really want to do right now.
Well, why?
Because I think that these people are important enough in what we do in music that we need to show people. I mean, when I talked to my daughter one day, I remember when Prince. Do you remember Prince?
I do remember Prince.
Prince died, and I called my daughter and I said, "Oh my God, no, he was a legend. He died." And my daughter said, "Who's Prince?"
No.
Yeah, we've straightened that out.
Right, of course.
Right.
I hope so.
Right. But I want people to sit in our shows and say, wow, I didn't know Ella Fitzgerald sang that, or I didn't know, about scatting. Someone's actually really scatting. So I want them to really connect to the music. Yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely agree that Ella Fitzgerald, for those who don't know, she's one of the premier jazz icons, along with like Louis Armstrong and Frank Sinatra. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So, and especially as like a woman in her time as well.
Yes,
So.
definitely. Nina Simone. I mean,
Mhm.
and these. I mean, we can go and really dig deeper to a lot of the jazz cats that are out there, and I just want to just give them their props. To be able to go on stage and sing their music is incredible to me. It's emotional. I love singing with a passion. I look at singing as it's an instrument.
Mhm.
I take care of my voice as well as you take care of your keyboards, someone guitar, harmonica, whatever else. It's important. Yeah.
And so that next show is on May 13th.
Right.
What have you got beyond that, or anything beyond?
Yes, we have shows coming up. I believe we have a show in Lidditz coming up. You would just need to check our website. It is Big Mama and the Velvet Martinis website, and we'll have some upcoming shows. I know we have one in Lidditz coming up, one in Lancaster, and a few others coming.
And then can they expect the same thing of jazz and blues or funk?
Well, depending on the show.
Right.
I know we have a show that has jazz, and we try to emphasize this will be the jazz show, and then our funk show, you'll know when you get there. I'll be the one with the big afro and the platforms.
So do you still this is a question I've always had.
Sure.
Wigs, right?
Yes. Yes, I like wigs. Yes, I do.
So how do you this is it's a weird question because I've never had to wear a wig.
Sure.
I've had to wear a bald cap once when I was Shrek in the musical, but
Really?
yeah. Do you what goes into getting a wig, making it work, and taking care of a wig? Because I'm sure it's a lot of musicians.
That's
the whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Corey, that's a whole new podcast. We would have to do another podcast. Wigs to me are specials like shoes. I mean, I think wigs are like an accessory, like a purse. I mean, there's sometimes if I'm in a red kind of style and I wear a red wig and red pumps. It's just, to me, it's accessory. Yeah.
That's incredible. I wish I could wear a wig like
you
that.
Can. Yeah.
I can.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's true. I guess I can. You're right.
That's a whole other podcast.
So, moving on to some of the questions I like to ask all my guests. Okay. What are some of the funniest or worst shows or things that ever happened to you on a show?
Well, okay. I have one, and my husband could witness this faux pas. I was in a club, a gig, singing on stage, and I'm rocking it out. I am literally rocking out, places packed. And I threw my head back, and my wig fell off.
Up there.
He's over there. He's concurring. And what do you do as a performer? What do you do? What would you do, Corey?
If my wig fell off?
If your wig fell off.
If my wig fell off, it didn't happen. I'll keep going.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I grabbed it, put it on lopsided, and continued to sing that song. And I was embarrassed just for a little bit until I looked up and everybody's like, yeah. And then it ended up being pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what you got to do if anything goes wrong. Just make it part of an act.
Exactly.
Use it, turn it into a pom pom.
Exactly. Throw it out there, have it throw it back at you. But yeah,
right.
So that was pretty cool.
What do you think is a venue that you want to go to eventually? Where are some of the bigger places you want to expand to? You've hit Nike Black Box, which is a big one already.
Wow, I want to go big. I want to go eventually on stage and just grab a Grammy.
Really?
That's where that's where my mindset is. It's like there's great music out there, and there's so many great musicians that you try every day getting up doing your music for that. I mean, so that's the goal. There's no venue. I love doing what I do. I mean, I'll play Starbucks. No, I won't. But no, I won't. Yeah, but just to get the music out there. Yeah. One person, 500. Yeah. So I'm not there.
So, of all of this knowledge, what is one thing that you wish you knew when you first started, as opposed to now?
I think the most important thing is a balance of family and career. I mean, back then there was a time where it was just, gig, 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 and my home life was just, they were just
They were there.
they were there, and just having that kind of balance. Yeah, now I have that kind of balance, and it's just working a lot better. Yeah.
So, if you could, here's one thing: if
Mhm.
you could meet any of your old jazz icons, or if you could go back and meet any one of your impersonators,
Mhm.
who would you meet?
Wow, because there's so many of them.
There are so many.
Yeah. Um, it would probably be Billie Holiday.
Really?
Yeah, and she was just just a lost soul. But you hear her music and it's just screaming out, just longing. So yeah, I would just want to just meet her.
That's, Billie Holiday is a oh gosh, where do I even begin with like that kind
Yeah.
of person?
Yeah, but Billie Holiday, she was born in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
She was raised in Baltimore, and she was one of the female jazz singers. I mean, and her life was just a tragic end. She got into heroin,
Mm-hmm.
and her career just ended up being, at that time, she was in and out of jail because drugs back then were,
Yep.
yeah, were,
Yeah.
really illegal, and she had just a horrible, horrible, horrible life, and it just came out in a lot of her songs.
They really should make a movie better. I think so.
Well, I think they have.
I think they probably have. I know they made one about Aretha Franklin. That was amazing.
Yes, very cool.
So, what are you're a vocalist, you're a performer. What are some of the techniques that you're still trying to perfect as a performer?
Wow. Mm. I love connecting with my audience. Love connecting with my audience, and I'm trying to figure out ways where I can connect with them more. I want to with the shows. I want when people come in and the show starts at 7. I want them to be entertained from 7 o'clock to 10. And my husband and I, we were talking about if we can find jugglers,
Mm.
fire eaters, something where it just brings the show to an element of here we are. Let's sit back and get entertained. So that's what that's going on right now.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
just saw Lit It's Fire and Ice. I don't know if you went to Lit It's Fire and Ice.
No, I
Recently.
saw it on Facebook. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Aaron Bong
Yeah.
was there.
Mhm.
It'd be really cool because he does his whips to music. It'd be really cool if you did a live performance with that on fire.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yes, exactly. And that's the things we want to do. We want to find these acts that, you know, to open up with. So it's like this, wow. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, he's coming back for what is it? Run Fair.
Okay,
And
we'll check him
so
out.
check him out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
for
check
sure.
him out.
He's from originally from around here too. So that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Well, where can people find you at? I know you have a website.
We do have a website. One of the websites, we're always going to be under Big Mama Music. That's our umbrella for all of this stuff going on. One of it would be MelanieVerdi.com is my personal website for the jazz side. We also have the Big Mama and the Velvet Martinis website, and that's for all of our band business.
And Melanie Verdi is MELANIE VERDI.
That is correct.
.com?
.com.
There we go.
That's correct.
And is there anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I want to say thank you so much for having me on this show. It's pretty cool. We have something for you.
Oh, do you?
Yes, we do. We have something special for you. Yes, and yes, we do. And Mo, he's a great guy over here. So you make music continue with music. What you do here, it's so cool. And
Really
we're
cool.
a big fan of yours. So you're now an affiliated member of the Big Mama and the Velvet Martinis.
Thank you. This is really cool. It feels like almost like a jersey. I really like this.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having
Of course.
me. And the band wants to say, you're part of us now, right?
Thank you very much, yeah.
It fits.
It does fit. It fits very nicely. Although I don't know why I put it over my dress shirt, but you know what? Who cares?
I didn't realize you got some guns up there.
Yeah, well,
now I do. You look good. And also we have the Jazz and Blues. This is the flyer for the May 13th gig. It's the Jazz and Blues going to be a great time. BYOB. Please bring your own beverages and food. Incredible. Go on Eventbrite. Tickets starting at $15 up to the VIP seating. It's going to be a great show.
Well, with all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And you can find, well, actually, you can find out more about me at CoreyRosenProductions.com. I am Corey Rosen. This is the Story Podcast. There you can find out more about me, the projects I do, and the podcast and all 130 some guests that I've had on before you guys, and all the guests that I have on next. Upcoming, we have Kevin Whitaker, who is a indie rock artist from around here. He's a dad musician, and he does some incredible cool stuff around here. This Tuesday, we have Dan Mayer. He is a recording engineer from around the area, and he's done a lot of cool stuff with really cool musicians. This Friday, we have Dustin LeBlanc. He's been an artistic director of West Shore Theater. He's currently managing director of West Shore Theater, and he's been an artistic director of many theatrical productions. So I'm excited to get tied into the theater world with him.
Yes.
And this Saturday, we have my interview with Night Owl Country Band. They're a country band out of Indiana. And so we get to hear about them and all the cool things they get to do with like the ISSA Awards and the International Singer-Songwriter Association that they get to do over in Indiana.
Nice.
And then that's all I got for this week.
What?
Oh, yeah, only that. Yeah,
Only
that. You can find out more about that at CoreyRosenProductions.com. That's CORYROSEN Productions.com. With all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you guys later. Bye.